Hi friends, Suzanne here. Welcome to another paper pumpkin alternative video on my YouTube channel and blog. If you're new to my channel, I want to say hi. This video will share 5 alternative projects to stretch your paper pumpkin supplies. If you don't know what paper pumpkin is, click the link in the description box below and check it out. I always show what's in the box before I ignore all the instructions and create my own masterpieces. So come along with me as I attempt to create out of the box. Back in August of 2021, I yoinked a nerve in my leg and I was unable to sit for about 2 months. Because of that, I wasn't able to craft very much and I sort of skipped the paper pumpkin alternative video for August of 2021. I've had it on my desk. It's been bothering me because it's an unfinished project and I really wanted to create the cards out of this kit because I paid for it. And I was hoping that maybe you might enjoy just watching what I do to this box. If you have the box still and you haven't created with it, I encourage you to pull it out. It's super cute and I absolutely love the colors and all the things going on with it. Let's see, the coordinating Stampin' Up colors were Bermuda Bay, Blackberry Bliss, Bumblebee, Melon Mambo, Petal Pink, Pool Party, and Poppy Parade. So I'll get started by sharing with you what was in the box. And again, it was supposed to make 9 cards and envelopes, and you could design the box as well. So here are the instructions if you wanted to create the projects as they were intended. And here are some alternatives on the back. And then this is all the supplies I had to work with. Quite a bit of supplies. I have to say there was a lot in this kit. All right, so we're going to start with the alternative card number 1. These are the products that I chose to use. I have my Excalibur sword. I always like to give it a flourish before I start. I can't help it. I'm a child. I rip apart the envelope. I'm going to slice off the part of the envelope, and I'm going to use this in another project or in card number 2. So I'm just going to concentrate on this one right here. So I'm creating a mat that is 2 1/8 by 2 1/4 approximately. And I also have a little piece of white cardstock and that is going to be size 2 inches by 2 1/8. And the second square that I choose to create here is 2 by 1 1/8. So the same size as the little basic white. You'll see in a second how it all comes together. I'm going to adhere that 2 by 2 1/8 piece of envelope to the card that is the same size so that I can strengthen it and apply dimensionals to the back. Then I'm going to adhere that piece to the mat that I just cut from the envelope and deciding where it looks best. So I have a pretty mat. Now I'm going to use dimensional adhesive for this butterfly. It came in the kit. And I'm going to adhere that right in the center. So I'm going to apply this entire square to the card, but not before I season my stamp. And then I'm going to stamp off and then on my project. And so I didn't adhere my square down yet. I'm going to make sure that it is perfect, or the stamping is perfect, before I adhere that focal piece down. And I wanted to also create some splatters by second generational stamping. So I'm just sort of stamping in the middle because I know that's not going to be used. And then I'm double stamping or generational stamping or double stamping, whatever you want to call it. And so it just gives a little bit of splatters behind the square that I'm going to adhere on the card. As always, you guys, I would love for you to write down which is your favorite 1 through 5, or even in this case, the bonus number 6. I love to hear what you like, and I love to hear why. And if your comment is invisible straight away, that's okay. I have moderators, and we make sure that there is no spam coming through on the channel or hate speech or anything like that. So I am very, very, very careful about that. So just be patient. If your comment is positive and constructive, you will get it on the page. All right, so I put some sequins down. As you can see, I have a hard problem. I'm a big fan of the sequins and the bling. All right, that was card number 1. Here we are with card number 2. That was the envelope that I ripped apart in the first card. So what I'm going to do is I am ripping the right side towards me, and I'm going to rip out that pretty colored paper. I guess it's a design, I'm not sure. By ripping the right side going towards me, it gives me, on the left hand side, it gives me a beautiful torn edge. So I'm looking for that. I'm looking for a rough edge. It's not supposed to be, or that's not what I was looking for in this card design anyway. So I am continuing here with these rips, and I even have a small little piece there from the other part of the envelope that I did manage to rip down too. And again, I want to remind you guys, you can find more pictures and information about all of my card designs at my blog. And in case you don't know where I blog from, it's sunstampin.com. I have a lot of content there. So lots of freebies and lots of information. So if you wanted to wander by my blog, I would be super happy to have you. All right, so I am trying a couple of different ways here. I used, for this particular inking, I used Blackberry Bliss in a dauber, and then I used Polished Pink, I believe. That was the other color here, or was it Melon Mambo? Sorry, Melon Mambo. So anyway, I sort of jazzed it up. I inked up with the lighter color, and I daubed on with a darker color, and then I generational stamped to get the correct lightness. And you can do that. Like, you don't, if something is too dark, stamp it off and see how it looks first. That's what I did here. So I have a two-toned kind of sentiment. And now I'm just adhering all of the ripped envelope pieces. And I'm not too worried that they're hanging off the edge, because I'm going to go in with a pair of shears or scissors, and I'm going to cut off the excess right about now. Turning the card over with my long pair of scissors. Stampin' Up used to sell these. They don't anymore. I have found an alternative, but they're not as heavy duty. But if you check out Epicure, and it's a Canadian company, but I do believe they're in the States now. They do have these long shears. They're called kitchen shears anyway. They're not as heavy duty as this pair was, but they're all right. They do the job. All right, so I put dimensional adhesive behind my words, and here's my little pink butterfly that came in the kit. And this also came in the kit. It's like a it's like a jumble of butterflies and a whole bunch of things. So what I ended up doing was cutting away this particular purple butterfly and the little baby butterfly that's hanging off its wing right there, if you can see it. So I just was carefully sort of, it's like surgery. You're snipping little bits and pieces away. And I'm not throwing that whole thing away. I'm going to be using it in the next card. So I'm just sort of trying to use all the things from the kit. But when I do my alternatives, I only try to use up like one card base from every design and one of this and one of that. I feel like alternatives are great only if you have some leftover bits and pieces and don't like doing the same thing over and over and over again. But it is nice to do the cards as they were intended. So I have put dimensional adhesive on the back of that butterfly and a mini glue dot on the baby butterfly hanging off its wings. And now I'm adhering my sentiment in a cattywampus way, because there's no way I'm going to get it straight and everything is crooked anyway on this card, so I'm totally fine with that. I'm going to adhere that little butterfly. I guess it didn't catch its mini glue dots, so here I go again. This time I'm really going to stick it down. And I tend to use the mini glue dots that I have already in my stash as opposed to the flat ones with a backing. Just makes it easier to stick something down when I'm doing it on camera. So here's a little trick with Wink of Stella. I squeezed it on a block and then I sprinkled and splattered it along the white part of my card to give it extra dimension. That white was just a little too flat for my liking. And then of course I had to put on a copious amounts of these really pretty iridescent pink that might not be coming through in the video, but they're iridescent and they shine different colors. I don't know what that is. It's like a color changeling. Anyway, it's really pretty and I don't know when to stop with them. So I might be over embellishing, and you know, that's my problem. I need therapy for it. I don't know about you guys, but I do. Moving on to card number 3, as promised, I have that little extra bit that it was left over. I'm going to start off making a frame from this beautiful paper. I am just using sort of like, I think it's about, I don't know, 1/4 inch, and going from, you know, one corner to the next, lifting up my trimmer, and you can see I've only cut in at, it's almost like, yeah, I think it was just over 1/4 inch. I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. So the thing is, all I want to do is cut out a rectangle, and I'll be honest, if it's crooked, it's okay. If like this top was a little bit too wide and the sides were too thin, that's okay, because I can come after and trim down the outside of the frame to make everything match. So I think I was doing about 1 centimeter. I'm not perfect, so I ended up trimming that frame down so that it looks perfect. Now you know my secret. All right, so this is a silicone mat, and I just scribbled some glue on there, and then I'm just tapping this die cut, and it's a delicate die cut, and you guys, you know how difficult those are. They're finicky to glue down, so I just sort of slapped it on the glue, and hopefully that works. I am trying to find the perfect placement, and I press it down. I'm going to trim off the excess, especially the corner piece. I'm going to be very delicate with it, and only cut what needs to be cut. And if I have to, if I want to save that flower, I will cut around the circle just like I did here. So that part is adhered down, and now I'm going in for the second part and scribbled some glue on there again and just took my die cut and tapped it into the glue. This way it gets a little bit of glue everywhere and there's not a lot of glue squishing out. And I don't know how many times I've opened up a card from a card maker and it is stuck to the inside of the envelope. And I know they didn't mean to have that happen, but it does. And it happens more than you think. So if you really wanted to stop any stickiness, you could take a embossing buddy and tap that along the way. So as you can see there, I fixed a hole on the top left circle. There was a hole there and I just stuck a butterfly to it. I don't know what happened to that in my video editing, so just so you know, I'm pointing that out. I also took the bones of my dimensionals and I put them on the frame. I wanted that big butterfly to be in the frame. So the frame is moved up a little bit. If I was to do this card again, I would move it down a little bit. Anyway, because that bottom left corner is kind of naked. Naked. All right, so I'm doing this again. This is the Melon Mambo. I stamped out until I got a color that I liked. And I'm fussy cutting the Just a Note sentiment. And this time I'm putting glue on the back side of it. So I have just sort of smooshed a little bit of the glue around and I'm trying to make it straight-ish. It's hard to make this font straight, so it's almost like accept its crookedness and be fine with it. That's the Zen teaching I'm teaching you. Zenful. My mom and I were driving on the car one day and I saw somebody's license plate that was called Zenful. I wonder if they were a yoga teacher. I wasn't 100% sure. Anyway, because there's so much blank space here, I decided to fill the left bottom corner with a lot of bling. I don't mind it. And I'm also filling holes where I can. And then I had a little bit more of the die cut, so I decided to add it to our frame just for the heck of it. So I go in with my glue. Oh, first of all, I have to do Wink of Stella around the frame. And then I'm like, yeah, I'll use a little bit more of that flower. So yeah, I cut out the flower and I think there was some stuff inside of it. Anyway, cut that out, look at it, see where I like it. And I end up cutting off that one little half petal. But I do like the way it looks there, so I put a little bit of glue on the center of the flower and a little bit along the leaf and adhere that down. So that's pretty much it for card number 3, and moving on to card number 4. So this giant butterfly was supposed to be used for decorating your box, and I didn't listen. And I'm bringing out a new product out of the annual catalog. This is called Stampin' Up masking paper. So I'm going to use it as, I cut it into like little strips, almost like tape. And you know what? You could have used Post-it notes for this. It would probably be less expensive, but you know, I wanted to try it out. So I've only used it one time before, so this worked out really well. The nice thing is that this product is not overly sticky. So I'm masking off the butterfly, and yes, I turned the butterfly backwards. All right, I'm using 2 colors here. I'm using Mango Melody and Flirty Flamingo. The reason I love Flirty Flamingo and Mango Melody together because it makes a really pretty peach when you mix the two colors together. So on the outside of this die cut, I'm brushing on Mango Melody, and here I'm bringing in Flirty Flamingo, which is a pretty pink. And then I go back. I don't think I have any ink on my brush after, like my yellow brush anyway. And I go over that, and there's that pretty peach that happens. It's beautiful. All right, so I'm gonna take off my little masking bits, and I can use them again, and I will. I was not meaning to waste at all, but it did take me some time pulling off these bits and pieces of my mask. So I'm going to just jump to the good part and show you the reveal. Anytime now. And here is the reveal. All right, so I have glue on the back of, or I'm putting glue on the stenciled butterfly. You're like, what are you doing, you crazy woman? So I'm just gonna flip that butterfly around, and I will put it, the actual butterfly, over top of that stenciled, blended, beautiful, peachy color. And it's going to be the inside of my purple and pink butterfly. So now this butterfly feels like it's full and home and not a skeletal butterfly. I'm using my scissors here just to knock it into place. This is the beauty about using liquid glue. And I am going to wait for this to dry a little bit. I just have to shift it a little bit more and then press it down. So I'm going to go in with my Wink of Stella, and I'm going to blend those two colors even better, even more than I did with the blending brushes with Wink of Stella. So not only that, we're moving a little bit of ink. If there was any white left and showing, is all going to be covered. And she is looking like a very sparkly butterfly, which in my mind is appropriate. Wink of Stella should be used on anything pretty and sugary. All right, so now I'm flipping my butterfly over and my card over and trimming out the excess. I did not, that part just went into the trash. It was too small to use. So here is the sentiment. It says, where there is faith, miracles happen. And I'm leaving that, the sentiment and the butterfly, pretty much. That's a very simple card design. I am going to put 3 of those pretty color changing pink / purple / silver sequins on the card. And then, yeah, I don't know which one's my favorite. I will tell you when, I will say I really liked 2, but I think 5 is my favorite, which is coming up. So you guys vote. Okay, here we go. So there is a pool party card base that was in the kit. I'm slicing it down. I believe this is, I can't remember, 4 by, oh, I'm writing it down. Oh, aren't I nice? 3.5 by 4 3/4 is the pool party, and the white, basic white piece, not thick, that goes with it. And I think yes, I remember now. I put adhesive on before I measured, so This was 3 3/8 by 4 5/8. So I'm going to adhere the basic white card to the pool party card base that came in the kit. And then I'm going to set that aside. Now there are really pretty banners that came in the kit, and this is a stripy kind of a gritty one, a grid-like one. So I am adhering them both together to make a strip. And then I'm going to put dimensional adhesive on the back. And then I'm going to adhere that to the right side of the card front, which would be the pool party and basic white. About a 1/2 inch in, you can see that I'm using my grid mat for that. And it's okay if there's seams showing and all of that, it'll all be worked out. I'm trimming off the excess. I always save little bits and pieces like that just in case you need a little something something for a card. And guess what, guys, I make a lot of cards, but I don't necessarily share them all with you. So there's always little bits and bobs that I save. You might think that I toss everything, but I do not. All right, here's the splatter. I stamped off and got that pretty color. That is Bermuda Bay up there that I did do that with. And I have cut up the little strip that you're supposed to decorate your box with. And I cut it up to say, you never know what tomorrow will bring. So I put dimensional adhesive under you never, and just regular adhesive under know what, and put that on the card about 2 inches down. And then dimensional adhesive on the back of tomorrow, which is this here, what I'm putting directly over top of that seam, like I said. And then just dry adhesive on the will bring. And I sort of flipped up that fishtail a little bit and just put that in even with the little strip. And then I put my favorite adhesive. I say I have a love-hate relationship with this adhesive because I really like the strength of it, but sometimes it's hard to get it out of the container that it's in. So there's a love-hate relationship going on. All right, so now I have a little butterfly. I'm adhering to a glue dot and sticking it into my design right next to tomorrow. And then I'm going to put 3 of the sequins, purple / pink / silver. It's not iridescent, they're color shifty. And then I move them around until I got a placement that I liked, which is not this placement. It's that placement there, kind of. There, it's right there. I used my bone folder to fold the card, and that was card number 5. Moving on to card number 6, which is a bonus design. Give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying this video, or subscribe if you want to get more. These are the components of the kit that I chose to use, and I did not use Excalibur because not everybody has an amazing sword that rips through paper crafter envelopes. So I decided to use my trimmer, and I just trimmed that down to 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have a Bermuda Bay card base, as you can see. And yeah, this one's pretty simple. And again, you guys can pop by the blog, sunstampin.com, for pictures, still pictures, all of that sort of thing. You know, and a lot more stuff. All right, I'm adhering this envelope to my card base. And I bring out my trimmer one more time because I'm just going to cut this banner at right in the middle-ish, trying not to get too much of that yellow. I took an extra strip of Bermuda Bay from a bit of card that I had laying around, and I'm going to adhere the pretty colored banner kind of over it, but not 100%. It took me a while getting the placement for this. I didn't like that. It almost like you have a sort of a chunky banner, so you have to pair it with a skinnier banner, and then they have to have a little baby banner, don't you know? So I took one of the sentiment strips from the kit, and I'm just going to cut it into a banner end and stick that onto my couple of banners. And I just put that on with nice dry adhesive. Of course, you all could use glue and all of that. Sometimes I mean, I'm really addicted to the dry adhesive because my fingers don't get all icky. So I'm just trimming off the excess, and I popped that up on dimensionals, and I sort of flagged the ends a little bit, just gave them a slight bending, and I adhered that to the card. So the sentiment is again going to be just a note. I am not, oh, and here we go, the butterfly goes on top. So just a note of hope. The thing is that it's really specific. If it's a super specific, almost like a card made for, oh, whoopsie. Sorry, you heard that. So this is just a note of hope. The sentiment would have been a very kind of specific card that you'd have to give. And when I remove the of hope, and then it just becomes just a note, for me, it becomes a more usable card. I can send this to my customers. I can send this to my team members. I can send this to my mom. And I can just say, hey, I'm just thinking about you. So that is the reason why I chose to remove the hope. Anyway, those are my cards. I hope you enjoyed this super duper late paper pumpkin alternative. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.